Hello and welcome back to Shelf Center. This is Bryce. Thanks so much for stopping by. Thanks for liking and subscribing. If this is something you end up enjoying, you never know, it could happen. Well, this is another review. I'm trying to be better at my reviews, and so I've got a little bit of a new system where I'm just winging it, frankly. I'm going to wing it, and I'm going to have fun with it, and I'm going to try to do them one-shotted, just without edits, as much as I can stomach it. And we're going to see how this goes, okay? So this one is actually, I have two versions of this. So Long and Thanks for All the Fish, book 4 in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy trilogy. I just love that alone. As you can see, this is my battered version that I actually read. This is my nicer version that I think is a first edition that I've been more careful with. I like these dolphins that are... I don't know, they seem annoyed, to say the least. But I also am like, what's that tail doing there? It doesn't look like a dolphin tail to me. As a kid, I was very proficient at dolphin tails, okay? As you can see, same cover for the mass market paperback. They didn't change that. Hitchhikers, let's get into that. Hitchhikers, I've been a fan of. I've been slowly reading these, but I do honestly feel like there's a definite kind of downward trend. This one is fun, just as, like it's still somewhat of the same level, but it's definitely my least favorite so far, which I didn't think after reading book 3 that I would be saying that. Now, it has the same punchy lines. It's got a bunch of great quotes. It's hilarious at times and quite often, but at the same time, like Hitchhiker's Guide, it's hard to beat book 1. It's hard to beat book 2, which kind of keeps at the same level. Book 3 is where I felt like it took a definite dip, but it still had some just great, hilarious moments that I was reading to people, right? And same with this. I read multiple parts of this to people. Maybe they cared or not, I don't know, but I thought they were funny and they chuckled at least to humor me. So I thought it was, I mean, I'm not quoting books I don't like to people. So I like this. It is lots of fun. But this one I struggled with. So let's get into it. Essentially, we're back with the usual group. Arthur Dent is back. In fact, the Earth is back. And so he's kind of back to his usual haunts. He's back to home. Board Prefect is still doing his random stuff. But Arthur Dent essentially meets this woman that he's infatuated with. And guess what? It's not even Trillion? What's her name? I'm clearly been too long. She doesn't play a big part in this, so that's part of the reason. And he kind of obsesses over her. The part that I struggled mainly with was just that this book really doesn't even get going until about halfway, and it's only, barely about 200 pages long, and it's just like, it takes quite a bit to actually kind of get moving. Again, part of this is Douglas Adams, just his kind of style. He's just getting to he's getting there when he needs to, when he wants to. But it definitely, it was a little more boring, a lot less happening. I do love dolphins. I just read Star Tide Rising, so I love dolphins in space. I honestly start to wonder, when especially I've read them so close together, did they have this idea at the same time? Did one copy the other? I don't know. Because this is 1984, Star Tide Rising. 1983, but also this was mentioning dolphins earlier volume, so anyway, it's about the same time. I'm sorry for that edit there. I did have to, I didn't want to put you through me looking the stupid thing up. Anyway, I love this trilogy of 5. I love that it's called a trilogy of 5. I love introducing that to people because I like dad jokes, and that's the ultimate one. There's so much to quote out of this. Usually the beginning is just absolutely quotable, so I'm going to jump out of that. Do that one. Far out in the uncharted backwaters of the unfashionable end of the western spiral arm of the galaxy lies a small, unregarded yellow sun. Orbiting this at a distance of roughly 90 million miles is an utterly insignificant little blue-green planet whose ape-descended life forms are so amazingly primitive that they still think digital watches are a pretty neat idea. This planet, or rather, This planet has, or rather had, a problem, which was this. Most of the people living on it were unhappy for pretty much of the time. Many solutions were suggested for this problem, but most of these were largely concerned with the movements of small green pieces of paper, which is odd because on the whole it wasn't the small green pieces of paper that were unhappy. And so the problem remained. Lots of the people were mean and most of them were miserable, even the ones with digital watches. So it still gets me. It still gets me. It's still funny, and that's just the beginning. And I quoted that to people. I quoted multiple different spots to people. I didn't feel bad about dog-earing these. If you call me a monster, if you will, but I dog-eared some of these pages because I find them so funny. So, for instance, this is later in the book, but I don't think it's really a spoiler. If you took a couple of David Bowies and stuck one of the David Bowies on the top of the other David Bowie, then attached another David Bowie to the end of each arm of the arms of the upper of the first two David Bowies, and wrapped the whole business up in a dirty beach robe, you would then have something which didn't exactly look like John Watson, but which those who knew him would find hauntingly familiar. I mean, it's like... Oh, he was tall and he gangled. I mean, just all that to say he was tall and gangled, and it didn't even like describe it really. I laughed at that, and that's literally what I read to people, and I don't even feel bad about it. Let's see if I have any more. It seemed to me, and I won't read who it says this, that any civilization that had so far lost its head as to need to include a set of detailed instructions for use in a package of toothpicks was no longer a civilization in which I could live and stay sane. I could keep going. So there's so many. I mean, this is literally just like tons of great things to quote. But like I said, most of my quotes are like literally from the back end of the book. It really doesn't get moving till then. Is it worth reading? Absolutely. Hitchhiker's Guide is just brilliant. All of them are brilliant. They're so good. Read it for the quotes, though. Read it for the hilarity. It's definitely worth reading. It's a lot of fun. It makes me laugh. And you'll be quoting it, I'm sure, to plenty of people, because that's what cool people do, okay? Anyway, thanks so much for stopping by, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.